Hey, friends. If you've been loving the conversations we have here on the All in My Head podcast, and you're looking for a way to ground your thoughts, reflect more deeply, or just make space for yourself in the chaos, I've created something for you. My very own journals are now available on Amazon. Whether it's the gratitude journal to help you focus on the good, especially on the hard days, or the Mind Unwind Journal, a space to release, reset, and realign. These were made with you in mind, my thoughtful, deep feeling, always reflecting listeners. Just head to Amazon and search Gratitude, Mind Unwind Journal, or my name, Jenny Jimenez-Sullivan, or check the link in the show notes to grab your copy. It's simple, intentional, and ready to meet you wherever you are.
Please, allow me to show you something.
Welcome back to the All in My Head podcast. I'm Jenny, and I am your host. And as I sit here on this Sunday morning in early fall, it is rainy and cool and crisp, and that is a rarity for South Carolina. And I was sitting here this morning kind of just sipping on my tea and thinking about the last episode, which was episode 24 with Heather, called Let Me Love You, and some recent conversations that I've been having with some family members and just other people in my life, and how this theme has continued to come back around. And I just felt like this needed its own episode and space to breathe, because human relationships are hard, and navigating challenging ones is even harder. And the hardest part of all of it is kind of putting ourselves first and knowing when enough is enough. So this is episode 25, and it's called The Only Person I Owe Is Me. And I know that's kind of controversial, because we are taught at a very young age, and especially as women, and especially as caretakers, to constantly give our time, forgiveness, and emotional labor, all as proof of love. And the guilt that comes with that can be debilitating when we even think about putting ourselves first. But unlearning that behavior and that mindset that everyone gets access to me is one of the biggest challenges and struggles, but also the thing that truly saved me. That's because we're taught that if someone is blood related, that it means we have to keep them closely engaged in our everyday lives, because that's showing them respect. But if someone or someone's, right, even if it's outside of that familial blood relationship, is disrespecting you constantly, why is that okay? It's not. Nobody, nobody, no matter who they are, should get access to you if they cannot respect you, if they cannot value you, and if they cannot honor your boundaries and beliefs. The best thing that you can do for yourself is self-respect over obligation. You're not obligated to let people into your inner circle, especially if they are disrespectful and disrespecting you. If you are allowing people to disrespect you because you feel obligated, you are slowly, and I'm speaking from personal experience as I do most all of my episodes, right? I'm very vulnerable and open about the things that I have been through. So if you are allowing people to disrespect you, as I did, because you feel obligated, you are slowly killing your self worth and destroying any chances of self worth and self love from growing within you. And I did that for a very long time. I felt obligated to have relationships with people who were tearing me down. And in turn, that was tearing me apart and tearing down my self worth and my self image and my self beliefs. And the self love was pretty non existent. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It is not selfish. And people who tell you that, those are probably the ones who are disrespecting you and are telling you not to be selfish. Loving yourself, just like we talked about in the last episode with Heather, self-love is crucial. It has to be the number one thing, because without that, what do you have? And it's not easy. Nobody says it's easy. When you do finally set that boundary or cease to have communication or a relationship with someone because you finally choose to put yourself first, maybe it's because of their narcissism, because of their destructive behavior towards you, or a manipulation, or just this uneasiness. And yeah, just this uneasiness that it may give you in your whole being. People will have opinions. Pretty much everyone will have opinions about you setting this boundary or you really just putting yourself first. But that's for them to deal with, not you. That is a them issue, not a you issue. Because as it was for myself, and as it has been in quite a few instances, coming to a decision like that is not something that anyone, and I mean, I know this, that is a decision that no one comes to lightly, whether in a friendship, whether in a romantic relationship, a familial relationship, a parental relationship. It's deeply personal and it's difficult. So no one who isn't you deserves access to making that decision or in trying to change your mind. Nobody gets to make that decision but you. And freedom starts with no. Freedom starts with saying no to people who don't treat you right, who break you down. The access that you give to people sets a tone for everything in your life. It sets a tone for your mood, your ability to navigate life and choices and decisions, and it affects your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Allowing that destruction of peace in your life, in your everyday life, and in accessing time spent with you, it's destructive. You know, we try to make good choices about what we put into our bodies to keep it healthy. We try to consume good food, the majority of us. We try to consume good food, positive things within the media. I'm a big person, although I do have strong opinions about things that are happening in this world and in society in general. I try to consume things that are healthy for me in media and in what I read. We try to make good choices in moving our bodies and exercising and staying healthy in all those ways to keep our body and our minds healthy. But we are, and again, this is coming from my own personal experience, we are too quick to allow people who are toxic to access our lives, our minds, and our hearts. And that is the most unhealthy thing that we are doing to ourselves. And we're doing it to ourselves because we're allowing it. No one and nothing deserves unlimited access to you. If something or someone is quite literally sucking the life and energy from you, then it does not deserve to be in your life. You get to decide who and what deserves to be in your life. Society, genetics, none of that should be making that decision for you. You deserve to make that decision for yourself. And I mean, I know it sounds simple when you say it or when you read it, but it took me over 40 years of my life to come to this realization. And no, it wasn't easy. And it's not easy. But it is the best thing I ever did for myself. It's the best thing that I ever did for myself. Relationships should never be one-sided. If loving someone else means losing yourself in the process, it is absolutely not worth it. Because self-love must be first, always. And oftentimes, the hardest goodbye is to who you used to be. The hardest goodbye is to who you used to be. The overly agreeable, in my personal story, the people-pleasing person who allows access to oneself to everyone, even if they don't deserve it. But when you finally put yourself first and show others how you expect and should be treated, that is the day that you come home to yourself. That is when you start attracting what you deserve. It's not your job to save anyone. And that was a hard one for me for a long time. I thought I had to save everyone. And in the process, I was the one drowning. The only person you have to save is yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for growing. And again, this took me most all of my adult life, but I choose me every time. Because in making that choice to put myself first, I'm a better person. I'm a better wife. I'm a better mother. I'm a better daughter-in-law. I'm a better friend. I'm a better Lala. I'm a better human. Knowing and honoring my worth has attracted the same, just as allowing disrespect and abuse and destructive behaviors bred more of that in my life. When you allow disrespect and abuse and destructive behaviors and all of that negativeness, it's going to breed more of that in your life. You are what you allow, and you are what you put out there as well. First, stop apologizing for taking care of you. Stop that. Stop abandoning yourself for everyone else. We always hear that. We can't pour from an empty cup. So let's stop that. And if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive and it's not worth it. You don't owe anyone your peace, but you do owe yourself the world. I was recently talking to my adult nephew, and I have to say, I love when they call me or they reach out to me to set up a time to chat on the phone. And they can just do that out of the blue. And it's like no time has passed. And we can just talk and be real with each other without judgment. And I love that. And I love that that is what I have, or how I have fostered relationships with them, that they can just call me out of the blue and we can have these beautiful, detailed, in-depth, and poignant conversations. But recently I was talking to him, and that subject came up about boundaries and who gets access, and also others telling you how to navigate a strained relationship or a non existent relationship, and kind of what tying up loose ends and having closure looks like for me and for them. And again, my nieces and nephews are in their 20s and early 30s. And so hear these profound ahas and these amazing self realizations and work that they have done with themselves and for themselves is beautiful. I wasn't equipped to do that at their age, but that is the conversation we were having, and a lot of other beautiful things we talked about. But that in particular, and he said, my love isn't a condition on who you decide to have relationships with or not, for that matter. I love you because of who you are. And that's exactly what I said back, is exactly. Our relationship isn't conditional upon that we are all getting along with people within our inner circle or in our family or whatever the case may be. And I said to him, closure and forgiveness look different for everyone. And boundaries are important. And closure and forgiveness does not mean forgetting or excusing or even condoning the hurtful or harmful behaviors from someone. And it does not. This is probably one of the biggest things that I heard. And again, I've talked about therapy and my own journey with that and my own process of healing and the deep dives that I've done in the dark shadows to get to this point. But so many people want to tell you that if you forgive, you just move forward and act like nothing happened and continue this relationship. But it does not require reconciliation or reestablishment of a relationship, nor does it mean the other person's behavior was acceptable. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, and that's okay. But no one gets to tell you what closure, forgiveness, or what a relationship should look like. It's a personal process for everyone, and releasing the resentment or forgiving or however it looks for you or within you is to free yourself. It's not necessarily a change in your relationship with the other person or to change the relationship with another person. It's not for them, it's for you. But again, it doesn't have to mean reconciliation. And I said that to him, and he was like, absolutely. I've been there. I've had to set hard boundaries. And some of those boundaries, we did reconcile a relationship, but in a different way. And some we did not. But it's not one sided. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be one sided. And I said to him, I'm at a place in my life where I feel complete. I don't feel like I am missing anything or missing out on anything or anyone. And in turn, and this isn't kind of a braggadocious thing or something I'm saying to be conceited. You know, I used to always say to my husband, I'm not conceited, I'm convinced. And I stick by that because I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything or anyone. If anything, I feel sad for those people because they're missing out on me because I'm pretty awesome. I've done the work. I'm doing the work. I continue to do the work and I move forward in a different light. And I feel like I put out something very different because I know my worth and I'm done earning my worth. I'm worthy, period. I am worthy, period. And like I say to my kids, and I've said to my older grandkids, and will continue to say to them all, my love for them is not conditional. There is nothing that they need to do or be to me or for me to love them anymore. I love them regardless, and I love them infinitely, and I love them unconditionally. I love them in their humanness because we're all flawed. I mean, if anyone stands in the mirror and says they're perfect, whew, be about self-affirmations, and I'm all about that, but none of us are perfect. We're all flawed. We're all human. So no matter what they do, or if they falter, or if they fall, I love them unconditionally. And that for me is non-negotiable. I may not have always had that in my life, but that is what I will always give to my kids, to my grandkids, to my friendships, to my loved ones. I love you unconditionally. I should not, and you should not, ever have to prove your love to someone. They should love you because of who you are and because you're you. And if they don't, bye. We're going to agree to disagree on this, and we can go our separate ways. Goodbye. The only person you owe anything to is yourself. And when you put yourself first, all your relationships will benefit because they shouldn't deplete you. Relationships should be fulfilling, mutual, beautiful, nourishing. And it's not to say there won't be hard times, but they shouldn't all be hard times. And these relationships should fill you up while filling up others, filling up your community, which in turn fills up the world with that same beauty. And that's where we're lacking people here. We're lacking that, and we're seeing that a lot. And some of the things that we're seeing in this community and in this world is what we're allowing. But if we fill ourselves up and fill our cups with that love, that self-love, and what we deserve, we're able to pour that back out into the community, into our communities, and into the world. And isn't that a life well lived? Full of service to yourself first and foremost, and then in turn to others. Yeah, I think so. What is one thing, if you could sit back now after this episode and think about, that you've been giving to everyone else that you now want to start giving to yourself? Maybe you can even take a moment. And if you can, say it out loud. The only person I owe is me. The first person I owe is me. And then maybe take some time to sit down and maybe do a voice note if you're not a journaling person, or sit down and open that journal and journal about it. What are some simple steps that you can take today to give back and to pour more intentionally into yourself? Maybe the hardest part about choosing yourself isn't the act itself. It's learning to live with that quiet after. The silence where guilt used to echo. The stillness that asks, what do you want now? You don't owe explanations. You don't owe permission. You don't owe versions of yourself that only exist to make others comfortable. You only owe the you who's been waiting patiently and quietly for you to come home. Thank you for taking time to listen to the All in My Head podcast, and for being here, not just with me, but with yourself. Until next time, make every day a quiet promise to choose yourself first. Listen to the All in My Head podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your podcasts.